INTJs, I'm going to put them straight into S tier because I actually think a lot of the time being INTJ in and of itself is kind of superpower. If you look at heroes like Batman, for example, they are able to use those traits of an INTJ, the strategic planning, the thinking, and all the prep time stuff, to be able to actually come up with ways to actually be on the same league as other actual superheroes who have superpowers, which I think is just so cool. And if you gave an INTJ any sort of superpower, I think they would really be analytical of it and figure out ways to use it best and just make the most out of it and use it in really creative ways. And that's why I think INTJs S tier superheroes. ENTP, I'm going to put them in B tier because whilst I do think often they do have cool powers and can come up with creative ways to use them, I think what really holds these types back is trying to figure out ways to actually be like moral with the powers. A lot of the time, they don't really take it that seriously, and they don't have that sort of innate drive to do superhero good stuff that other types would kind of have. For example, if you look at Deadpool, he has the powers, he could do good, but he kind of doesn't take the role as seriously as he definitely could do. With INFP, I'm going to put them in A tier because actually of the morality side of things. Any good superhero team needs that really strong moral foundation, and I think INFPs really can bring that to the team. For example, sometimes actually the morality side of things can kind of be one of the big selling points of the INFP. If you look at the character of Frodo, for example, his ability to not get corrupted is just a huge part of his character. I know it's not really superhero, but I think it kind of fits here. With ENFJ, I kind of have to put them in S tier because I think ENFJs are kind of the stereotypical superhero symbol. You've got characters like Superman, for example, who really do good and kind of bring that sort of hope and goodness into the world, which is awesome. And yeah, I think they really do love to help other people out, but they can also do it in a kind of strategic way with the introverted intuition. So that's why I put them in S tier. With ENFPs, this one might be surprising, but I'm going to put them in S tier as well. I think genuinely ENFPs are some of the most underrated superheroes out there because I think often they're used as kind of comedic effect and they sort of lighten the mood of superhero stuff. And often actually they are ridiculously overpowered. It just never really comes up. For example, Spider-Man and also Plastic Man. They really have an amazing set of powers, and you never really get to see them put to full use. But yeah, often ENFPs, they're incredibly strong, but you won't be able to see it because they're used for comedic purposes. But I really think what's cool about ENFP superheroes is they just kind of love the job. They enjoy it. They have fun with it. You get an INTJ, they're not really like making the most enjoyment of it because they're being so serious about how to be the best superhero. Whereas ENFP, they can talk whilst doing it. They can have fun, and I think that's so cool. With ESTPs, I'm going to put them in a beta because I don't think often they work well in a team dynamic. I think the sort of stereotypical ESTP superhero is kind of like they're really good with the powers, they're really skilled, but they're kind of a hotshot who kind of rushes into things, messes up the whole team dynamics plans because they just want to go for it and sort of show off. And I think that can really ruin sort of the team, and that does definitely hold them back. Obviously, with maturity, they can sort of do better as superheroes, and that's often kind of a common arc for ESTP superheroes. But generally, I'm going to put them in a B tier for that. And now the next two I'm kind of putting together in C tier, ESFJ and ESTJ. I think as superheroes, one thing they'd really struggle with both these types is kind of taking time off. I think they both kind of want to constantly help people, and there's always more that could be done. There's always someone else who could be saved. And I think that would just constantly sort of eat away at them, and they wouldn't be able to stop, and they'd eventually burn out. So they'd be able to do some good, but ultimately in the long run, I don't think they'd be great as superheroes. With ISTPs, they're going after just because of team dynamics. I think ISTPs, they really just don't like working in a team. They want to do everything on their own, and this is going to stop them from having a lot of the benefits they could get from being in a team. If you look at, for example, Wolverine, he's a good ISTP example, and yet he kind of ignores the potential for being in a team. And I think really in superhero dynamics, teamwork is kind of seen as like the ideal thing when you can use other people's powers most effectively. That's when it's like really cool, and that's when you can get the most done. So ISTPs, whilst they often will be good on their own, they could be so much better if they learn to work with others. With INFJs, I'm going to put them in an A tier because I think a lot of the time they have quite mysterious powers, and I don't know how effective they'd be actually like on a one-on-one fight. But I think where they really shine is in the team dynamics. Often their sort of powers will be like maybe they can have visions or like sense things. If you want an example, I'd say like Martian Manhunter is really good for this because he's able to like detect thoughts and stuff of other people and kind of how other people are feeling, and that is so cool. And yeah, I think they've really just helped the team dynamic work, even if it's not necessarily the best in a straight fight. With ESFPs, I think these are the most like stereotypical like punch heroes. I don't know. They probably have powers like super strength and stuff. They're kind of just going in, fighting, and that they're kind of just your typical hero, I guess. With ISFJs, I think Eta, because often these can be the core foundation of the team. If you look at an example like Captain America, he's really the core of the team. He holds it all together. He's consistent. Even though as an ISFJ, he doesn't necessarily have like the best powers. He's able to use his powers to kind of just hold the team together, which is really cool. And yeah, ENTJs, I'm gonna put them in A tier as well because like I think they're pretty good all rounders. They're like solid leaders. Generally, they've got a decent power set. They know how to use it. They don't have a lot of the shortcomings that a lot of the other types do with being superior. As long as they've got like some sense of morality, as in they're good, they're probably going to be okay. And that's why I put them in A tier. With ISFPs, I'm going to put them in beta. I actually think where an ISFP would shine is kind of the gimmick side of things, and like having like a secret identity and then like forging an identity as a hero. I think that'd be really cool, and seeing how an ISFP works with that, I think they do really well at that kind of superior side of things. With INTP, I'm going to put them in Eta for pretty much the same reasons of INFJ. I think they're really good as like the computer guy, the tech guy, working behind the scenes, making sure the team kind of works together, handling the sort of logistics side of things. That's where I think they've really shined, not necessarily in like a fight like an ESFP would do. But yeah, I think that's where they work really well in the team dynamic. And finally, ISTJ, I'd put them in beta. Like generally, they're going to be quite reliable with the powers. Their powers might even be quite strong, but where they're going to lack is in the creativity of using those powers. There's so many ways they could like explore that, but generally they just won't. They might just do the same sort of attack over and over again, which can get quite boring and also predictable to counter. So if an ISTJ was able to explore other options of using the powers, then I definitely put them higher up. But for now, beta. And yeah, that's all of them. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you subscribe if you want to, and